Hello everyone, I am Kenshin. Welcome to Talking About History. We all know that the United States and China are now in a Cold War state, and this coincides with the US election, which reminds us of the 1964 campaign advertisements that exploited the fear of the Cold War. Let's get to know each other this time. Before the show starts, please subscribe, share, and turn on the little bell. This will help us grow faster. Without further ado, the show begins. In the high-stakes arena of the 1964 U.S. presidential race, Lyndon B. Johnson's campaign team took a bold step that would forever change the landscape of political advertising. With the specter of nuclear destruction looming large, they unleashed a minute-long television ad that would come to be known as the Daisy ad. In this iconic ad, a young girl innocently plucks the petals of a daisy against a backdrop of serene fields. Suddenly, the tranquil scene is shattered by a massive atomic blast, engulfing the screen in a fiery inferno. While the ad never mentioned Johnson's opponent, Senator Barry Goldwater, its message was crystal clear. A vote for Goldwater was equated with the risk of nuclear war. This chilling portrayal of the potential consequences of electing Goldwater struck a nerve with the American public. Dubbed, "Peace, Little Girl," the ad played on the profound fears of nuclear annihilation that gripped the nation during the height of the Cold War. And it proved to be a game-changer for Johnson, helping him secure a landslide victory in the Electoral College. But the impact of the Daisy ad extended far beyond the 1964 election. It marked the beginning of a new era in political advertising, characterized by the use of negative tactics to sway voters. Prior to this groundbreaking ad, political campaigns typically relied on a more factual approach, presenting candidates much like any other product. Robert Mann, a mass communication professor at Louisiana State University, explains that Johnson's campaign took a different approach, crafting short, punchy ads designed to evoke strong emotional responses. And in the climate of heightened anxiety following the Cuban Missile Crisis, these ads struck a chord with voters already on edge about the prospect of nuclear war. The Daisy ad remains a powerful reminder of the enduring influence of television in shaping political discourse and the lengths to which campaigns will go to capture the hearts and minds of the electorate. Defiance in the atomic age, Goldwater's stand against nuclear disarmament. The backdrop of the 1964 presidential race was one of intense nuclear anxiety, with the United States and the Soviet Union amassing thousands of nuclear weapons. Fallout shelters dotted the American landscape, and schoolchildren like Mann found themselves huddling under desks during atomic bomb drills, gripped by the fear of a catastrophic conflict. Amidst this atmosphere of dread, a hawkish faction within the Republican Party took a surprisingly cavalier attitude toward nuclear weapons. Goldwater, the Republican nominee, dismissed the atomic bomb as merely another weapon, and floated the idea of using low-yield nuclear arms in Vietnam. His flippant remarks about lobbing a missile into the Kremlin and his opposition to nuclear disarmament and testing limitations raised alarm bells, even among some of his own party members. Goldwater's opponents seized on his controversial stance on nuclear issues, painting him as unreliable and dangerous. Despite facing criticism from within his own party, Goldwater doubled down on his positions, declaring extremism in defense of liberty as no vice, a statement that only fueled concerns about his temperament. For Johnson, Goldwater's nuclear rhetoric presented a golden opportunity. Casting himself as the steady hand amidst the chaos, Johnson capitalized on Goldwater's perceived extremism, portraying him as an unhinged radical who posed a threat to national security. Johnson's campaign hammered Goldwater not only on nuclear issues but also on his opposition to civil rights and Social Security. Behind the scenes, Johnson exuded confidence in his ability to maintain order and stability, a stark contrast to the perceived recklessness of his opponent. In the eyes of many voters, Johnson emerged as the reassuring guardian of America's safety, while Goldwater's provocative rhetoric only served to bolster Johnson's image as the responsible choice for president. Daisy's countdown. From innocence to apocalypse. The iconic Daisy ad, produced by Doyle Dane Bernbach, made a powerful statement during the 1964 presidential campaign. Filmed in a deceptive setting, a Manhattan park made to look like a tranquil rural field, the ad featured a young child innocently plucking the petals of a daisy. As the camera zoomed in on her eye, a chilling nuclear explosion unfolded in the background, capturing the stark contrast between innocence and devastation. Accompanied by a solemn voiceover from President Johnson, the ad delivered a stark message about the stakes of the election: the choice between a world of peace and harmony or one engulfed in darkness and destruction. Its closing words, "We must either love each other or we must die," struck a chord with viewers, highlighting the gravity of the decision facing voters. Despite its impact, the Daisy ad aired only once, during a primetime slot on NBC's Monday Night at the Movies. Its brief airing sparked controversy and criticism, with opponents, including the Goldwater campaign, accusing Johnson of fearmongering. Even Johnson himself expressed reservations about the ad's potency, acknowledging that it may have been too provocative. Ultimately, however, the Daisy ad left an indelible mark on American political advertising, setting a new standard for emotional resonance and political messaging. Its powerful imagery and evocative message encapsulated the anxieties of the Cold War era and solidified Johnson's reputation as a leader committed to peace and security. Daisy ad reaches 30–40 Americans. The Daisy ad left an indelible mark on the 1964 presidential campaign, effectively cementing Goldwater's image as a warmonger in the minds of voters. While immediate polling data didn't show significant shifts, the ad preemptively dashed any hopes of a Goldwater resurgence. With approximately 30 to 40 million initial viewers and widespread replays on news broadcasts, the ad reached an estimated 100 million Americans within a week, a staggering penetration considering the limited television landscape of the time. Doyle Dane Bernbach's work for Johnson extended beyond the Daisy ad, with other commercials aimed at highlighting Goldwater's hawkish stance on nuclear issues. One ad, featuring a girl enjoying an ice cream cone, subtly underscored the dangers of radioactive fallout from nuclear testing, a tactic aimed at swaying voters concerned about the environmental and health implications of atomic weapons. Another ad, deemed too controversial for airing, depicted a pregnant woman and her daughter, hinting at the potential risks of birth defects due to radiation exposure. Although this ad never made it to television screens, its existence underscores the Johnson campaign's willingness to push boundaries and capitalize on public fears surrounding nuclear warfare. In the end, the Daisy ad and its companion pieces helped solidify Johnson's narrative as a champion of peace and stability, while casting Goldwater as a reckless advocate for nuclear escalation. The ads played a significant role in shaping public perception and ultimately contributed to Johnson's landslide victory in the 1964 election. LBJ secures victory, a landslide triumph. Johnson's landslide victory in the 1964 election not only secured his presidency but also reshaped American politics. By appealing to moderate Republican voters and maintaining the support of the Democratic Party's New Deal coalition, Johnson managed to win over a broad swath of the electorate. His commanding win, with 61% of the popular vote, solidified his mandate to pursue his ambitious domestic agenda, known as the Great Society. With an expanded Democratic majority in Congress, Johnson was well positioned to enact sweeping legislative reforms aimed at combating poverty, advancing civil rights, and expanding social welfare programs. However, the escalating Vietnam War would soon overshadow much of his domestic agenda, sapping both political capital and public support. While the Daisy ad captured public attention and helped shape the narrative of the election, it was the sympathy generated from the recent JFK assassination that likely played a more significant role in Johnson's landslide victory. Nonetheless, the ad's stark imagery and ominous message about the dangers of nuclear war left an enduring mark on political advertising, setting a precedent for future attack ads. Robert Mann argues that the ad was justified given Goldwater's hawkish rhetoric and apparent enthusiasm for nuclear conflict. By portraying Goldwater as recklessly advocating for war, The ad effectively highlighted the stakes of the election and the potential consequences of his policies. In Mann's view, the ad served as a cautionary reminder of the dangers of extremism in politics, a message that resonated with voters and contributed to Johnson's decisive win. What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments. See you in the next episode.